Hey, how's everyone doing today? This is Josh Noel with PremiumBeat, and in this After Effects video, we're going to talk about the top 10 mistakes you can make inside of After Effects. Alright, we're about to jump into our list, and of course, this is from my experience and from what I've seen, mostly from beginners, but of course some of these mistakes can happen to us advanced users. So we're going to talk about this top 10 list, and if you don't see a mistake on here that you think should be on this list, go ahead and comment down in the video description so we can all be aware of that mistake. But let's go ahead and jump in this video, let's get started. Alright, starting off our list is not using the Align tab to center objects and especially text. Anytime you're trying to center an object inside of After Effects, you might drag it around and try to center it up as best as you can. You might bring up your title save to see this in the center, but if you're not using the Align tab to center your objects, you are totally messing this up. And to bring the Align tab, go to Window, Align, and you can center any object inside the center of your composition, or you can even center two objects together just using the Align tab. If you're not using the Align tab to center objects, you're definitely making a mistake. So next part on the list is more of a missed opportunity than a mistake, because sometimes it does make sense, but however, using the transform properties to animate your text. So that means using position and scale to animate your entire text layer, instead of going to the Animate tab and dragging in the position and repositioning your text, and then going to the range selector and being able to have full control over the animation, a little bit more advanced than the transform tab. There's a big difference in the amount of control you have, as you can animate each individual letter compared to the entire object, which is a big deal. So be sure to check out the Animate tab and check out all the individual properties inside this one menu. And continuing on our list is forgetting to feather out your mask when compositing. So you're creating a mask and you forget to go to the mask feather and feather it out so it blends very nicely together with your other composited footage. And forgetting to do that will leave a nasty cut between your main layer that you're masking and the background layer you're compositing onto. Forgetting to feather is a big mistake, and you want to make sure that you feather your composites so you can make them nice and clean. Another mistake is using solid layers as shapes. So you create a solid layer and you create a mask and you use this as a shape layer instead of just using the regular shape layer without any layers selected, and you create a shape layer and you have all these amazing controls where you can animate shapes and make it look great. Essentially, if you're using solid layers as shape layers, and you're definitely missing out on a huge opportunity to animate individual shape layers. A huge mistake and definitely a missed opportunity is not using easy ease keyframes, or at least smoothing out your animation when using keyframes. If you're just using the basic linear keyframes, you are truly missing out in the sense that you're not controlling your animations starting up and it comes to an abrupt stop when it ends. What you can do to easily fix this is make sure that your keyframes are selected, hit F9 on your keyboard for your creating an easy ease keyframe, and if we take a look here, as you can see, it starts, it speeds up and then it slows down before coming to a stop. And there's a huge difference in that animation, and it'll definitely make an impact in your overall product. I think it's safe to say that after a while, you're definitely going to have to create some sort of stroke when you're either creating text or an object, and you want to create an outline animation. And a lot of people will like to go up to Effect, Generate Stroke, since that's essentially what they're looking to do, and they usually go to Layer, Auto Trace, and they try to create a mask from this, and then they go into, and this is one way to create a stroke effect. However, it's very sloppy and it takes a little time to fine tune. The best way to do this, to create a stroke effect, is to select your object, your shape layer, right click your text layer, go to Create, and click on Create Shapes from Text. Then you go in your shape layer, go to Add, and you can add a Trim Paths. From here, you can open the Trim Paths, and you can see here, we can animate the stroke of any text layer or object, definitely a vector object, and you can add any shapes into the shape layers and do the trim paths as well. And this allows you to cleanly animate a stroke of any object or text layer. So this next tip is pretty straightforward, but it's simply not using video scopes when you are color correcting. And if you're color correcting in After Effects, you definitely want to be able to use video scopes to make sure that you are not blowing out anything in the shot or underexposing anything too much. And I know video scopes is a huge topic, and it's not necessarily required to know how to use video scopes if you're a motion graphics artist. But if you're going to color correct any sort of video inside of After Effects, you need to make sure you are reading the information correctly, so what looks good on your monitor may look terrible on someone else's. So being able to have a neutral reading of what you're seeing is very important. So understanding a little bit about video scopes when you're color correction can help you a long way and help you avoid any color mistakes. The next thing on our list is pretty simple, but having to think that you need third-party plugins to create great work. So I know you're thinking you've seen a lot of great plugins from Video Copilot or Red Giant, and you're super pumped. You're like, I need that plugin to produce great work. And the truth is, you don't need plugins to do great work inside of After Effects. There's a lot of things that you might think you need plugins for, but you really don't need to do it. So you're looking at some awesome particle plugin. However, CC Particle World, which is the built-in effect in After Effects, can help you do a lot of work already. Before you buy a plugin, make sure that you truly need it and it's going to have long-term value for your company. And before you buy a plugin, make sure you absolutely need it. In my opinion, plugins are great for helping you save time. They help you, produce that work a lot quicker. However, most of the time, you really don't need plugins. So don't think that you need to purchase the entire Red Giant suite in order to produce great work. It takes time to get good at After Effects, and plugins are not going to help you get great right away. So only purchase it when you actually need them. Perhaps the most important thing on this list, and definitely a huge mistake if you don't do it correctly, is organization and looking at pre-compositions. Meaning that if you don't have a properly organized composition, you're not going to be able to navigate it, or you may have applied effects to one layer and not be able to switch it out later. So meaning that if I look at this composition, I have everything layered into one main composition, everything completely organized to the point where if I need to change out this title, I can easily do that. And it'll automatically update in my main comp, and it's going to keep all those parameters, those effects, everything that I applied back into the main composition. So if my client's like, hey, can you change this title? No problem, I can do that, and it takes me 3 seconds. Whereas if I didn't have all this organization and I just duplicated my main title layer, as you can see if we come in here, I duplicated this title nearly 81 times. If I didn't pre-compose this, I wouldn't be able to change the title, and I would have to go through basically 100 layers to change out this title. So pre-composing, by going to layer, pre-compose, and pre-composing your placeholders, your titles or your logos or anything like that, it's going to help you organize your project, and you're going to be able to save a ton of time if you need to change anything. And last up on our list, and probably the worst mistake you can make in After Effects, at least most of the time, is not using motion blur when you're supposed to. So here's a regular layer without motion blur, and it's nice and choppy. It just looks very not natural. But with motion blur, we turn that on, you have that nice blur to it, and it looks a little bit more realistic, especially if you're blending this in with live action video. It's very important to have that natural motion blur, and it can really take your project to the next level. It's really just a huge missed opportunity if you don't turn on motion blur. So I hope you found this top 10 mistakes in After Effects useful. Like I said, if we miss anything on this list, go ahead and drop a comment down below so we all know the mistakes that we need to avoid. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This has been Josh Noel with PremiumBeat. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. For more tutorials, please be sure to check out our blog at PremiumBeat.com. And if you're in the need for royalty-free music, we have a huge library full of great music for your projects. So if you have the time, I invite you to check us out at PremiumBeat.com. And once again, thank you for watching this video, and this has been Joshua Noel from PremiumBeat.com.